Being long straights, the most important ingredient for success here is sheer horsepower.
And getting that launch out of those two crucial corners, 12 and 8, is going to be everything here. We're going to now step back, take a look at some qualifying highlights, and there he is, the noise police. And I'll tell you what, he caught a lot of people and made life miserable for an awful lot of people. And there are a lot of frustrated teams and drivers here. McMillan, as you know, was there. Look at that bizarre exhaust system. Even that didn't work. He was fast. Up in the top 5, it was black flag. All his times disallowed. It's just been that bad here with that. The rookie, Justin Marks, put in a blazer and ended up with a second-place qualifying effort, easily his best of the season. But Michael Galati grabbed the pole position with a great run. Now, these cars have twin turbos on them, so they're naturally quieter than the others, so the little changes they had to make probably didn't affect them that much. Their power looking pretty good. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. There's Galati on the pole. Unbelievably, his first Super Chips pole of the year alongside the rookie, Justin Marks. Great performance there. Mark's teammate Van Overbeek on the pole at Sebring and winner most recently at Sears Point, along with Jimmy Adams having a very good run. Phil McClure, the vet, good performance there in 5th with Derek Bell, the Speedvision legends of motorsports car there. Scotty B. White back here for a race. We've missed him for much of this season. And Peter Cunningham, not as far up as we normally see him. And then it is also Miller and Farmer in that 5th row. And as we take a look at the rest of the grid, you see Mike Fitzgerald, he too back further than usual.
And look at Jeff McMillan, 18th. He's much faster than that, but he was disqualified because of being too noisy.
And Derek, Andrew Marriott has caught up with our pole qualifier.
It's his first Super Chips pole of the year, but he leads the series. Michael Galati, looking forward to this.
Well, this is fantastic. It's great for the S4 and all the champion guys. We've been in the top 3 all season qualifying, but to finally get a top spot, it's fantastic. And we're excited. I mean, we're really excited to be here.
It's warming up. The turbos don't really like that.
Well, the turbo doesn't like it, but that's, there's no control on there. We got to take it as it is.
Well, of course, Michael's used to being on the front row. A man who isn't is young Justin Marks, a rookie here in the Porsche. And Justin, I think probably a little bit nervous, Justin.
A little bit, but I think we're just going to be smart and find my rhythm and see how it turns out.
Time management will be an issue in this race. How are you going to cope with that?
I'm not going to push the issue early at all. I'm just going to get in a line and try and stay there and see what happens towards the end of the race.
A young man going places, 30 superb laps coming up.
And we'll have those 30 laps for you when we come back to Portland right after this. And the power of the NSX, we don't really know at this stage. But right now, let's go down to Derek Bell on the pace lap from the cockpit.
Well, here we are coming around this delightful track, Portland, 1.9 miles. Welcome to the cockpit in the Speedvision GT Audi. Very interesting race, I've no doubt. Different circuit to Sears Point a couple of weeks ago. But of course, this is a very fast circuit. We've had some interesting contretemps with the organizers about the rules, which is a pity. And nothing wrong with the rules. We've done this thing about the noise. And none of us could really assess what the noise rules were until we got here. So there's people at the middle and the back of the field that should be right at the front, etc., etc. And it's been pretty tough on those guys trying to get their cars down to the decibel limit. Anyway, the Audis have been running well all weekend because we're not very noisy in the first place. So we've been pretty competitive, and unfortunately for Michael, fortunately Michael got pole, and in my case I didn't. I had a problem with electronics, with a fuel pickup problem as soon as I tried to accelerate. We don't quite know what it was, so we hope that we cracked it today. We'll find out as soon as those lights go out.
Well, thanks very much, Derek. And you can hear that noise issue has really gripped this entire field and has them immensely frustrated.
And the difficulty with the noise issue is you don't know until you get here whether your car is too loud or not, because of the concrete walls you see on the left side of the grid here. It's also on the right side, so the concrete reverberates and makes some cars way, way noisier than normal. Here we go.
Oh, and look at the launch by Bell. He exploded to the outside. He's already alongside Marks. The young rookie going to be sandwiched here. Galati got away cleanly as well, so that pause. Now remember, the opening lap, because of the standing start, they don't use the festival chicane, and Galati gets away clean. But a great start by Jimmy Adams in the Porsche and Phil McClure in the vet. That's your top 3. Van Overbeek is 4th, Bell up to 5th.
And Justin Marks just got swallowed from that front row position. and now he has a fight in his hands because it is very difficult to make passes here in the tight confines of this infield section.
And Justin Jackson also had a great launch. Meanwhile, we're on board with Peter Cunningham, and right there, Bob Miller, the Rogaine Porsche Direct PC machine, right behind him, and already starting to heap on some pressure.
Here's one of the long straights. This will answer one of our storylines about the NSX power as we watch the rest of the cars stream by our camera position.
Those great speed shots. Now watch this. That is a very high-speed entry into turns 10 and 11. And this is the opening lap. They're not at full tilt yet there. On board now with Derek Bell. Sits in 5th. Working through the last corner. Turn 12 onto the long straight.
And the tire squeal on the Audi S4. Bell got a tremendous launch, but unfortunately he went down the outside, and on the next right-hander he had to concede and move back to 5th place.
And look at McClure, middle of the track trying to fend. He thought, I think, that Miller, or Van Overbeek, excuse me, was going to take a run at him, and it didn't happen. And that may, well, he actually got out of the festival okay. There's Jackson up into 6th, and remember now, he started at 11th, so he's the guy who really got the launch at the start.
On board again with Peter Cunningham, the NSX. Remember, they had a power cut, a boost cut on this car, as well as adding weight. It has slowed him down dramatically. On board with Miller.
He's in 10th looking at Cunningham, and they actually also added a rev limit cut, a slight cut to the NSX. So Cunningham fairly handicapped here and sits right now in that 9th spot. Meanwhile, there's Galati, chased hard by Jimmy Adams. Boy, did he have a good start in that Motor Coach Industries Porsche. We're going to slide back just a little bit, back to McMillan. Remember, he's your reigning points champion, sits in the 12th spot, and he's got, I think, Bobby Sack all over the back of him. Now, McMillan may have started 18th, but we know he's quicker than that with the times he was turning in qualifying. He got disallowed once again because of that noise issue, and he is right behind Frank Allers, and that Corvette currently sits 1 spot up the Fiske Wheels entry.
And he is extremely frustrated. He qualified fast enough to be in the top 5. However, a tiny bit too much noise put him right down to the back of the grid, and he made his point very clear at the end of the qualifying session.
Here he goes, just ripping by Allers down into the festival. We jump on board with Allers, and there he slides through. So a nice pass there as McMillan picks up another spot, trying to charge to the front. Now, you made the comment about the noise reverberating in the concrete. It's also so really subjective, because what side of the car do you exhaust out of? I mean, that can play a huge role.
And these type of gray areas are very frustrating for the drivers, because remember, depending on how close a car runs to the concrete wall, depends how loud it may or may not be. And there's a 105 decibel level, which is very difficult to have racing cars comply with.
Oh, look at Cunningham up front as he dives underneath Scotty B. White and picks up another spot. So Cunningham moving now, looking back at Scotty White as we're on board with PD, but that sound deal, also the frequency, the reverb, the harmonics, it all has its effect. It's incredibly arbitrary, and I think that's probably the biggest issue. Now, look at Miller closing on Scotty White as well, heading into that very fast 10 and 11.
Oh, this is one of the great speed shots right there, but the NSX now showing the advantage of its nimble handling. The engine sits in the middle of the car, giving P.D. Cunningham, he believes, an advantage. Now on board again with Miller.
Right behind Scotty B. White, and here we go. Miller in the tow now, moves over. Let's see, Porsche brakes usually pretty good, heading into the heaviest braking on the track. And look who's going right with him, McMillan.
McMillan having a good run here from that 18th place on the grid. Frustrating. Oh, over the curbs. See how the Corvette jumps right in the air.
With 3 of 30 laps complete, we'll be back to Portland.
Well, viewers, it's not been such an exciting race just yet. A bit of professional, all trying to step into the race. Pretty fast out here. Porsches obviously have a bit of advantage in power, but we're not bad in the corners, and we seem to be good in the chicane, so see what happens. Back to you in the booth.
Thanks, Derek, and I love the use of the phrase, I'm going to try and step into the race here.
Yes, step in. Interesting, he said the Porsches have a little advantage down the straights, but of course the grip and the acceleration of the four-wheel drive Audi just gives them the necessary advantage exiting these corners.
On board here with Jimmy Adams, and I can't say enough about the performance he's been putting up, particularly as of late, and especially here. Qualified strongly, but he is all over the back of Galati. Jimmy Adams at Motor Coach Industries Porsche, he's doing a superb job, and right behind him, Phil McClure, who came with him, the Aggregate Industries McClure Concrete Corvette C5. This is arguably the best performance by both these guys, having very strong runs.
Very strong runs. Galati, hard to believe Galati has not had a pole earlier this year, as dominant as this car has been in places. Running a bit heavy, but Galati now with an enormous amount of experience trying to guide this Audi to yet another win. Look at Adams. Adams having a great run here.
Superb run. We're looking at the Audi field summary there, so it gives you an idea where everybody's running. And Jimmy Adams keeping Galati close, and at some tracks that's been a bit of a job to do, and Adams doing a nice bit of it. But even though Galati hasn't had the pole, he's had obviously some great runs, a few wins, and some very strong races, and it has him squarely in the point lead.
And you couldn't have two more different motor cars here. Jimmy Adams in the Motor Coach Industries car. We're on board with him right now. Rear engine, rear wheel drive versus the Audi front engine, four-wheel drive. But mixing these categories as well as they do is really what this championship is all about, trying to keep a level playing field, despite the noise problems here this weekend.
And Adams closing up into the chicane, a little bit under braking. Those Porsche brakes legendary, and you could see him working right there. And then, as you said, the grip on the exit of the turn, all four wheels digging for the Audi. Galati draws clear just a little bit, but Adams starts to close right back up again, heading into turn 4.
Again, you say in the brake zones. Watch. See this drifting double, triple apex right-hander? Then you drift, you slide all the way, then you turn left, and from there, all the way through this left-hander, you slide, you power, you slide, you power. Just absolutely abrasive on these tires, but you've got to be so careful you don't make a mistake.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Jimmy Adams and Andrew Marriott. He's having a stellar show.
Well, Jimmy Adams is having a great run. Of course, he was second at Lime Rock. Hasn't been going quite so well then. In qualifying, he spent a lot of time following Michael Galati, so he probably knows where he's fast against the Audi.
And he's putting it to good use as he is using that knowledge right here, closing up, staying close wherever he can, and it seems to be paying off just a little bit. But here's where the Audi is at its best.
And that's right. That's a good point that Andrew Marriott brought up, because a driver that's in chase, in pursuit mode, he does try and calculate where his best opportunity will come, and he tries to set that up lap after lap. But you got to be close enough to make the lunge, and Jimmy is not quite close enough to the Audi at the moment.
Watching Phil McClure, a completely different line, and by himself under braking for the festival chicane. Everybody's doing what's working for them. There's your top 10. We'll be right back. Gravel and across the outer edge of the track. Tells you how much speed they're carrying in there. I mean, right there, and just gets by here. That's Derek Bell, who now finds himself at 4th.
And a critical mistake. As soon as you make a mistake in the braking zone, you lose so much time going across the grass. He went over onto the racetrack and off onto the grass again.
And he's coming up on Bobby Sack. Now, keep in mind, if he gets there, Sack's down a lap. Here's the battle for 10th right now, and that's McMillan trying everything he can right now, trying to get by Scotty White. They just went through that triple apex, turn 4, 5, and 6, if you will. These cars fairly heavy. Does that really chew up these left side tires?
Absolutely chews it up. But when you talk about those type of corners, they are long drifting corners. Racetracks sometimes are stop and go. You stand on the brakes and you accelerate. This is not. This is a slide and drift racetrack, which is why we see so many mistakes when the cars are right on that edge and on that limit and on the edge of adhesion.
But as a driver, that's what you like, isn't it?
Oh,
throw it into a corner and hang on and ride it out.
Absolutely. And these cars, you hear the tire squeal, and when you can get it right on the edge of adhesion, begin to slide, it is so pleasurable for the driver.
On board with Jimmy Adams, who's having a great run, as we pointed out. Now actually closing up on Galati a little bit into the festival chicane. Boy, he's making up a lot of ground here. Now here's where Galati... Oh, and Adams is around!
Jimmy.
Oh, you can hear the tires squeal, and it just suddenly let loose.
Jimmy had to throw it all away. And this is what happens here. And just look what happens here. He goes from challenging for the lead all the way back to 6th. Jimmy Adams has a mountain to climb as they are side by side in front of him.
Well, Bell was 4th, got hung up when Adams spun. Jackson went through, then Jackson ran wide. Bell went through, then Bell ran wide, and Jackson's back. And Bell coming after him again here, heading into turn number 7, but Jackson's there.
As Derek told us, he's stepping into the race in style.
Now, Phil McClure had been running so strongly earlier, but Andrew Marriott, problems.
Well, Phil McClure's down here. He's obviously got gear selection problems. Phil's just trying to get into gear now. He very nearly ran over my toe. Just cannot find a gear. He's got the gear lever waving around. Now he drops the clutch, and I think it's probably stuck in 4th gear. Obviously, I'm going to let him concentrate on trying to get the car away. He shrugs his hands. I don't think this is going any place at all. Phil, are you stuck in 4th gear? Phil, are you stuck in 4th gear?
I think we're stuck in 3rd. When I missed the chicane down there, went over, something happened to the shifting linkage when I missed that corner.
It's go home time, is it?
Pardon?
Is it go home time for you now?
I have no idea what's going to go on.
A very big disappointment, bad luck. You're running so strongly.
Thanks, Andrew, and we are watching this battle unfold. The white Porsches, Jackson in 4th and Bell in 5th, and Jimmy Adams, we're on board with him, has caught this group again and is actually taking a look at Bell. Adams, you noticed he was reaching for something earlier, maybe brake bias?
I don't know. He did adjust something on the dashboard 1 lap earlier. I wonder, was it rear brake bias, and is that the reason he lost control at the festival curves? But he is now all over D. Bell. You saw Derek just dab the brakes. Brake lights came on for a second. But this is where the Audi should have a good launch off this turn, which is turn 8 onto the back straight.
Showing you the Audi field summary once again, and in fact, Bell does draw clear of Adams just a bit. But of course, Bell was talking about how the Porsches seem to have just an edge in top end. That's Justin Jackson right in front of that group as they come dialing up and into this very fast 10-11 turn sequence. The J3 Motorsports Porsche, then Bell, then Adams.
And Bell all over the curves down at turn 10. It's the only fast way. You got to aim for the curve and drive right up over the top of them.
Right here, we're on board with Justin Marks, the G&W Flextronics Intel Porsche. Remember now, he qualified 2nd, but had really a problematic start and slipped back to 6th. Actually, worse than that, he was 7th. He's picked up 1 spot, but now he's run into a very stout field of competitors.
And there's a long, long line of cars here ready to take each other's position. There is P.D. Cunningham right at the end of this freight train. On board now with Cunningham. This car has spent a lot of time on the dyno trying to get back some of the power.
In race trim, it's probably a little bit more effective. You can rely a little bit more on handling. We have 11 of 30 done.
Grass in the dirt.
There's another look at it. Right there, you can see the contact as the rear wing and deck of the NSX gets sent skyward. Now, Derek, let's go on board with Bobby Sack. Watch this angle.
He just gets past. Oh, completely misses his brake point and just drop kicks Cunningham right into the boondocks.
Meanwhile, the battle continues with Derek Bell chased hard by Adams, back on board with Adams through 10 into 11. And it's the footprint of that Audi, a little bit better there, but look at Adams under braking, closes right up.
Right behind him's got to stay as close as possible because the Porsche is pretty strong in the brake zone. At the end of this straight, if he can stay right under Derek Bell's rear wing and maybe use some horsepower, can he get down the inside? Yes, he can. Here he comes. Brake zone. Can he make it stick?
Watch for it, and he's clearly by, and he's got the spot. Oh, and he runs wide a little bit.
Oh, the
tires working.
Yeah, the tires squeal, but Jimmy Adams had a great run earlier, contesting for the lead, spun off, and now he's on his way back to the front. Oh, he goes wide.
He missed that apex, and he missed the second one by a mile.
Oh, he's leaving the door so wide open and tempting Derek Bell to maybe have a pounce as they lap. Is that Carroll in the Ferrari? I believe it is being lapped.
Yep, Carroll Holfelder, they're coming up on Adams, gets boxed in just a little bit. Here comes Bell.
Oh, he hits him.
Got it. Well, he hadn't hit him before. I thought he was being quite gentlemanly. At least he nudges him in a straight line, lets him know he's there.
Wow, this is close stuff. This is a battle, I believe, for 5th place. 4th and 5th place.
Yeah, Bell's in 5th right now, and he got shuffled back here.
And that all happened within 1 lap. As Derek Bell said, what did he say? He's stepping into the race.
I think that first step is a tough one.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped into it big time. Here we go now. Look at Adams. They're closing in on Justin Jackson. And Adams closing in on him fairly quickly here at this stage. Adams getting out of that last turn 12, very well.
Here's the lead group. Jackson in the white 911. Jimmy Adams in the multicolored American flag paint job. P.D. Cunningham still able to run fast despite being drop-kicked off the road earlier.
Here's your battle for 8. That's McMillan chased by Miller. And right behind them is Scotty White. They're into the chicane. And McMillan has got there. Now we drop back 2 spots. On board Scotty White, the Fiske machine, the vet, coming out of the chicane. That short chute that now leads into turn 4. And there's McMillan and Miller.
You can hear the big rumble of the V8 as opposed to the higher revving Porsches and the turbocharged Audis.
So, I mean, obviously McMillan working fairly well as he's come from 18th to 8th. The question is, if you're so borderline as we look at the battle for 3rd now, is Adams starting to heat up his attack on Justin Jackson? As a matter of fact, he got out of turn 9 incredibly well.
Look at this,
Jackson's going to move on him right down the middle.
Oh, difficult pass.
But he gave him a little gap.
Look at you hear the tire squeal. He made it. He made it through.
Jackson gave him just the smallest of gaps, and Adams said, that'll do, thanks, and worked his way through. And Bell's been watching that. Let's go back and take another look at that pass, because that was awesome. There was not a lot of room to make it happen.
It's turn 10, one of the fastest parts of the racetrack. He's on the inside, puts 2 left wheels over the curb, and suddenly Justin Jackson has no option but to let him through.
I almost wonder if Jackson thought when he ran down the middle, if he had blunted that attack, moved over to get a better line, and Adams was still coming like a freight train. On board with Bell, watching Jackson now, but that's Adams in front of Jackson, and he already is starting to open up a little bit. Adams' car is working incredibly well right now. Matter of fact, you can see him sort of easing off into the distance as we ride on board with Derek here, and Derek trying to figure out what to do with Jackson.
And I hear tire squeals all the time. Every time Derek Bell turns into a corner here, you'd hear those tires squeal, trying to maintain the grip.
Well, you would think as the track gets slipperier that the Audi would get better. Let's check in with Derek Bell. Derek, how's it going out there right now?
He's so gentle with the car, Speedvision. Has to be so neat and tidy to get it into those corners. And really tough, I tell you.
When Derek says tough, it is physically tough to be out here. You can hear him out of breath. It is so warm and hot inside these cars. Remember, this is an unfriendly environment, these racing cars.
Adams just ran a little wide, but he's hanging on to position. We're halfway through here at Portland.
In that track like Stevens Point, it makes big difference. The basic weight that we have on this car, it's heavier than everybody else. So
it's fun to see Mr. Personality in one of those R8s, and I think he could probably do the job. Now, what we're going to do right now, folks, is just take a run through a bunch of our onboard cameras, starting with our leader, and work our way back. Let's listen in a little bit here.
You could hear Van Overbeek and Jimmy Adams balance the cars as they slip and slide across the road.
Let's check in again with Derek Bell. Derek?
Well, Speedvision, this track is so slippery. I can't believe it. So early in the morning, really, really slick. Can't get any grip at all. Car just isn't handling like it was the other day, unfortunately. It was so beautiful the other day. So there we go. That was the other day. Back to you.
Well, Derek, I wonder if it's car or track. I mean, if it's getting that slippery and he's in an all-wheel drive car, it must be diabolical for everybody else. We're on board now with Justin Marks running in the 6th spot, who's hustling that Flextronics Intel machine back up. And there's P.D. Cunningham coming around the La Playa Motorsports Porsche of Susan Tracy. Remember, part of that husband and wife team that's running it.
Yes, McMillan now going to try and pass Susan. Into the back straight. She takes her normal line. Will he duck down the inside? No, doesn't take a chance to make... Oh, he does. There he goes.
She drifted a little wide.
She sees him. She moved over.
Oh, Scotty White over in turn 11. Sorry, Derek, but caught out of the corner of my eye that he was going around, and he has. There he is, just off to the left, as Fitzgerald slots through underneath from 14th now up to 10th. And Fitzgerald, normally we see him much further up the order than we have here. Here's Bob Miller.
Festival curves. Oh, look, he's all over the place. Our storylines at the top of the show could have been slip and slide, because there are so many people here prone to mistakes and flying off the road.
Here comes David Farmer, who we're on board with right now, the Metrochemical vet. He's trying to get around Carol Holfelder in that Ferrari, and Farmer lights up the rears. Big wiggle there.
Wow.
That was more just throttle horsepower looseness, but still, this track is obviously going off.
I mean, Farmer took a big lunge there. He almost hit the back of Holfelder. That's the Ferrari. Remember the hand controls. Remarkable, really, how she can drive this car as fast as she does. Round the outside. Hard move here. Oh, look, he takes 2 bites at it, and he finally makes it.
Now we go on board with Phil McClure. A little bit of brake lockup in that same sequence of corners, 4, 5, 6. And here we are. Frank Allers sits in 17th spot, and we are approaching 2/3 of the way done at Portland. To get her behind the wheel, and she's acquitting herself very nicely, thank you. There is Justin Jackson, who finds himself, as always, right in the middle of a good battle here. This is the battle for 3rd. And Jackson right behind Adams at this stage.
And a line of Porsche 911 still chasing Michael Galati. Galati made about a second or 2 of a break, and he's able to maintain it as we go on board with Cunningham.
You know what? We're getting a report he might be black flagged for noise. Now, let's listen here. If one of those exhaust problems has cropped up, it's definitely, according to the sound police, it's definitely creeping up in the decibel range now. Now, maybe one of those fixes has come undone.
And this is supercharged as opposed to turbocharged, so it is essentially a normally aspirated sound.
You know what? Take a look here at the muffler on the back of the car, and it has come loose. See it dragging? One of the supports is... Now, remember, that's where Sack got into the back of him.
Yes.
And it's dislodged that whole exhaust system.
Oh, I would hate to see him black flagged for something that he didn't do. That car is way louder than normal. The old noise police have their black book out as we speak, noting the number and the name.
And you can see it right there. I mean, it is dragging on the deck at this stage. And the engine note, possibly even worse than it was before, if it's loosened up that entire group there. Now, you mentioned being supercharged. It doesn't route exhaust gases through a turbocharger. It's just, it's belt driven, so there's no help from a turbocharger in noise reduction.
No, but you know what? With that muffler off, I bet he has a few more ponies under that hood making power.
That could very well be as he's starting to hustle it. Now we're back on board with Adams, and he is chasing Van Overbeck, so he's had a good run. Justin Jackson not able to get by him. Here's our Audi field summary once again for you to take a look at where everybody's running in the pack. And Adams, oh, very close. This is where he looped it before when he was getting that close to somebody. You think he may have adjusted the brake bias a little bit, but Adams, still biased or not, he's still really strong under braking.
And what they have to do now is thread their way past some of the slower cars. I don't know who that was, but it looked like one of the Corvettes on the right side. It might have been Phil McClure in trouble again as the leaders made their way past him.
Well, Phil, if he's still stuck in 3rd, if he came out just to try and get some laps in and get a finish, just accruing any kind of points, that might explain that. But Adams, certainly now, his entire attention here is focused on that rear wing of Van Overbeck, and he can't make many mistakes because Jackson now has closed it out again. And that's Frank Allers who's gone around, and it looks like there was contact at right front corner, and he got into it with somebody, and it's Holfelder.
Oh, it's Carroll. It's turn 10. And he realizes he's coming way too fast, cannot make the pass. Loses control. Watch this. Listen. Oh, man, he gathered her up so fast, he didn't realize the speed she was going through turn 10 at, and he had no option but to have contact and to lose control. Frank Allers hits Carol Holfelder.
And here comes Mike Galati coming up on Carol. Allers, since he returned to the World Challenge a couple of years ago, he's been just snake bit as we watch him regain it. He comes on right in front of the battle for 10th, Fitzgerald and Scotty White. And if Fitzgerald got balked there a little bit, White may have had an opportunity. It looks like Fitzgerald was able to get through the corner okay. As I was saying about Allers, he's been very quick on many occasions, but he just cannot buy any kind of luck. Now, Scotty White going under Fitzgerald. and this is a braking battle, and, well, the Porsche just barely wins it again. Now, Scotty White, oh, and he nudges him. He nudges him, and you can see that Fitzgerald none too pleased about that.
And you know what? That was a telegram move, but Adams now all over the back of Van Overbeek. That was a telegram move with Fitzgerald. He blocked him and then got hit.
Now this is where Adams got by Justin Jackson, and he's got to run again. However, Van Overbeek, not making it quite as easy, eases over, shuts the door, claims the line.
Oh, you got to get right down inside somebody. The nearer you get to the front, the harder it is to make the pass, because the quick guys are up there. But you got to get right down inside him if you're going to take the risk at turn 10.
And there's just a few more laps to take those risks. We'll be right back for them all. He's coming up to put a lap on Carol Holfelder here as well, and knifes through on the run between 7 and 8 and makes the pass. So he's going to be able to stay in touch. Holfelder tries to get out of the way for Adams. Can't do it. Now Adams swings to the other side and now pulls out and goes around. And Justin Jackson right behind Adams. I mean, right there. Look at that now. He followed through. Jackson coming up along the wall side here down this run. Now we head into turn 10 and 11. And Adams hangs on, but Jackson now is really serving notice that he's there.
And when you pass traffic like this, you have to have superb situational awareness. In other words, you look in front, you look beside, and you look behind, because you may have to pull defensive moves if you're to hang on to your hard-earned positions here.
Now, these guys absolutely hooked up right now on board and looking back at Jackson from Adams. And look at that. They have caught Van Overbeek. We have a 3-car battle for second right now. There's Van Overbeek on the left side of your screen. Opens it up just a smidge exiting the turn. Then Adams, then the white Porsche of Jackson.
Oh, this is far from over yet. These 3 911s, you can cover them with a blanket, and they all want that rostrum position. Look at Jackson. Look at Jackson. He ducks and he dives. He takes a slightly different line. Oh, he almost nudges the back. Oh, this is good, close stuff. All on the infield. Oh,
and he's up along the outside. You can't do the, well, or can you? He needs to stay put. No, he couldn't do it. And Adams is that actually cost Jackson just a little bit.
Yeah, I think he was going to try and get a straighter run down this back straight. However, it cost him 2 or 3 car lengths. Down on the run, more than 125 miles an hour to the brake zone, right here for turn 10.
When Adams made up a lot of ground on Van Overbeek that time, into 10, down that back chute, and here comes Jackson. Oh, he looks to the inside.
Oh,
Adams covers, but well, I don't know how they didn't touch.
Adams covered because he chopped right across and closed the door, as he's entitled to do. But you better be sure there's nobody with their nose stuck in the door jamb. This is good, close stuff here as the laps wind down.
Look at Van Overbeek. Gone. He's into pure protect mode right now, way down the middle of the track, turning in early, trying to fend off Adams, and that slows everybody up. But if you can't do anything with it, that's one thing. You could be defensive into the festival chicane, and everybody just has to park behind you.
And you can still see Van Overbeek on the brakes, and he drifts and he slips and slides under power. Listen to the throttle control.
Now we take a look at Mike Galati, and he's up front. Now, he opened up a pretty substantial margin, and that's starting to come back a little bit. Galati has eased off just a bit. There's Galati. There's that battle for second. There's the margin. He's given up a lot, but he also knows that the next lap will be the white flag. Galati knows where he is on the track, and it's up to these guys now to settle it for second.
And the dogfight that's going on here for the rostrum positions has helped Michael Galati just ease away, because these boys are embroiled in such a battle among themselves. They're actually slowing each other down just enough to let Galati have that comfort zone.
There's Van Overbeek. Adams, boy, they close up right there. That's where Adams gets in a little bit better, but Van Overbeek might be over slowing to get a run out. Galati picks up the white flag. It's his for the win, but place and show, that's wide open.
Yeah, but Jackson watches every move that Jimmy Adams may make here.
And there's, oh, look at Adams realized Jackson was trying to come alongside. He moved over, then he moved right back in front of Jackson again. Jackson, good drive out of the festival. He's got his nose, it's right there, not going to work. Adams tucks in. Jackson moves to the inside, can't do it into turn 4.
This is good. Adams trying to hang on here. Can he keep away Justin Jackson? Can he keep his position? Last lap, less than half a lap.
There's Van Overbeek, and look at Jackson. He's inside, he's outside, he's looking for any opportunity, and Adams stays right where he wants to be. Now, this is through turn 8. Huge corner here, and here comes Jackson. Oh, and he bumps. There's a bump again. Jackson is through.
He takes the big lunge right as Adams turns to the apex. I believe they hit, and that might be the rostrum position secured now for Justin Jackson.
Well, Adams was in the middle of the track. He eased left just to try and set up for 8, and Jackson just rifled up the inside. There's Galati. This is it, the last turn. Mike Galati onto the front straight, heading down and looking for the checkered flag for what will be his 3rd win, and he got it. But the battle behind, that jostling has helped Van Overbeek. He's got room. He's 2nd. Adams, no response. Jackson is 3rd.
What a run by Justin Jackson, and Derek Bell brings the 2nd Audi home in 5th place as Galati enjoys the spoils of a good afternoon's work.
And hopefully the result, as Andrew said, his 3rd win. Van Overbeek a strong 2nd. Jackson, what a drive all the way up into 3rd. Adams, Bell in 5th. Cunningham back a little bit. Justin Marks, he learned a little lesson today. McMillan fought hard to get up into the top 10 as well. Let's go back down to Andrew Marriott with our 2nd place finisher, Mr. Van Overbeek. Andrew?
There's a big smile on your face, but that was hard work.
That was, without question, one of the tougher races I've ever driven. The Flextronics Intel GMW Porsche was great, although towards the end of the race, we were slipping and sliding all over, and Jimmy and Justin were giving me all heck, but luckily I prevailed.
The 1st and the 2nd in these last 2 races. Now you've got a chance at that championship, although obviously Michael's on strong.
Yeah, that Audi team has just performed flawlessly all year, and I think their worst finish is 4th. And with that kind of performance, that's what wins championships. And but, you know, let's take it one race at a time like we've been doing, and so far so good.
Well done. Another podium finish for Johannes Van Overbeek.
Nicely done as well, but Galati, late in the season, you love to stretch out those points leads. That's what he's doing.
And Peter Cunningham survived the incident today, but that Acura NSX is not quite quick enough, particularly this weekend, to challenge for the championship.
Justin Jackson came from 11th to 3rd.
Well, Justin, that was some race from you. You got a little body scar on the front here. How did that happen?
Jimmy and I were right there neck and neck on the last lap, and I was a little stronger one right-hand corner than he was, and I just stuffed it down in there on the brakes. I don't think he knew I was there, and we kind of got together, but I came out on top. So, you know, unfortunate stuff happens, but that's racing.
I can tell you it won you the Road Gain Hair Raising Pass Award.
That's awesome.
It was a great pass indeed. Remember, Speedvision World Challenge. Next up, Laguna Seca, Friday, September 28th. Touring at 8, GT at 9 Eastern Time. And guess what? No noise problems and some great hills. It's going to be great to be back there. For Derek Daly, for Andrew Marriott, I'm Greg Creamer. Thanks for joining us. Find out about all the racing on Speedvision.com online. We'll see you next time at Laguna.
He really